Hey folks, this is Kalani. We're going to be looking at how you can get yourself some very easy and quick gold before you head into Warlords of Draenor, and it's probably going to be profitable going forward anyway, it's only going to get easier. So we're going to be farming normal dungeons, and we're going to be farming normal Cataclysm dungeons, because they're in the nice sweet spot of having the most gold come from them, obviously, because they're the highest dungeon that we can do, while we still have the bonus damage to old content. So Cataclysm dungeons seem to be the way to go. With the extra damage, you'll be one-shotting all the mobs anyway, and the lower dungeons that you go, you're still going to be one-shotting everything, you just don't get quite as much gold, so Cataclysm definitely seems to be the place to be. I ran through each dungeon several times and took an average of the gold earned, as well as the time taken for the run. Now the time taken is from when you enter the instance and start running to when you exit the instance, so the only time missing really is how long it takes you to vendor the things and then reset the instance. So it's a full run instead of from start to last boss, so this includes running back to the instance if there is not a shortcut. A lot of these runs can increase in time if you don't have a vendor mount, so that's going to make all of this a lot faster and a lot easier. If you don't have one, you'll need to find the nearest vendor to the dungeon entrance. The dungeons that I covered were Halls of Origination, the Lost City of the Tolvir, Vortex Pinnacle, Stonecore and Grim Batol. So let's get some data on your screens. We'll start with Halls of Origination, and I can tell you this was a little bit of a disappointment. So on average, a single run, bear in mind you can't teleport back quickly at all, so running through the entirety of Halls of Origination takes up most of the time. On average, a full run would take 12 minutes. Which obviously isn't ideal, that limits you to 5 per hour, and at only 240 gold per run, that puts you just over 1200 gold per hour, which I'm not entirely thrilled about, but either which way, I thought this was going to be a little better, simply because there's so many bosses in Halls of Origination, but the time it takes to run between them kills off the run, it really does, and the lack of trash which actually drops loot. Bear in mind all of the trogs that you find while killing the elementals, none of them drop loot, so Halls of Origination, potentially not worthwhile. Moving up to the Lost City of the Tolvir, the fastest run by far, clocking in at around 4 minutes on average for a complete run. It is a nice circle, so you're pretty close to the entrance when you finish the last boss, which is really nice, but sadly that means that you will be limited to 10 runs per hour because you can only enter 10 new instances per hour, and you'd have 20 minutes, give or take, downtime where you can't really do anything. That downtime may be nice for taking a break from WoW, taking a break from the runs and going to sort in real life things, but it's not overall efficient, especially if you don't have anything to do in those 20 minutes. On average, the run would give you 188 gold, which would put you at 1,884 gold per hour. Obviously, you're limited by those 10 runs. So it's quick, it's easy, you can get quite a nice bit of loot, but sadly the limiting factor is that it's actually too quick. So kind of worth it, especially if you have things to do elsewhere, but not if you want to be nice and efficient. So now things start to get a little interesting because we start with mounts and extra goodies. So Vortex Pinnacle on average took me 6 minutes to complete, and bear in mind you do get a portal at the end, so you can down the last boss, jump into the slipstream and come right back to the start of the dungeon, which is very nice. You can mount straight outside, which is even better. And on average I got 185 gold per run. At 6 minutes each, that should be around 10 runs per hour, which puts you at 1,850 gold per hour, give or take a few copper. Now the best thing about Vortex Pinnacle obviously is the mount. You can get a mount from the second boss, so that's something to consider in your calculations. If you want to sacrifice a little bit of gold to have a chance at that mount, you might just add something else to your collection. But that's how I did in Vortex Pinnacle. So let's have a look at Stonecore, because this is where the other mount is, once again on the second boss, but Stonecore seems to perform quite a bit better. Now on a full run, the average time was around 6.5 minutes, which would put our gold per hour at around 2090, because each run gained around 226 gold. So that mount may be something to consider. Obviously, it's a little better than Vortex Pinnacle to farm. The amount of trash in the room with Osric is kind of ridiculous, which brings me to another point. Another run of Stonecore was brought up by a friend, and basically he cleared to Osric, killed Osric, and then ran back. We kind of had a little discussion whether the last boss was worth it, and a few things came up. If you don't kill the last boss, you miss out on the last boss's loot, which will be about 10 gold on average, as well as the 30 odd gold from completing the dungeon, so around 40 gold per run lost. There's also a little bit of trash there, but I think it's not really worth considering. Bear in mind, most of the trash past Osric doesn't actually drop anything, which is the main reason why it's a little bit of a time sink. Going to the last boss will set you back 1.5 to 2 minutes, so if you don't do the last boss, you're looking around 4 minutes per run, which means that you'd hit that 10 limit cap. But if you don't have a vendor mount, or if you have other things to do in that time spare, that may be more efficient, so that's something to consider. The last boss is optional, apparently, on Stonecore. Just have a few runs and see how you personally feel about it, but it seems to shape up pretty well. The last one is Batol. Now, I kind of thought this was going to be pretty amazing just because of the amount of trash. As a very quick note, all of that trash still gives full rep if you have a tabard. So if you still miss any of your capitals reps, Stormwind, Ogremart, that kind of thing, then this is a really easy way to get those up really fast. But on average, Batol took me 8.5 minutes. Sadly, there's no way to get back to the start quickly. You're going to have to run all the way back. But on average, I gained 333 gold per run, which puts your gold per hour up at 2.3 thousand gold, give or take a few gold. So it's the best run. You got a lot of trash, a lot of vendor trash, which gives a lot of gold. You've got quite a few bosses. The only thing which lets it down really is having to run all the way back. But what's fantastic about Batol is that you can do it in several large pulls, or even one large pull if you skip the third boss. So Batol seems to be shaping up as my favourite farm spot, especially considering I now have a vendor mount, so I don't need to fly anywhere to sell all my goodies. But that's just a video I thought I'd throw out there for anyone interested in dungeon farming, a nice little bit of easy gold if you have the time to do it. The 2 mounts in there might be worth farming, and then if you have any reputation that you want to get up with your capital cities, that's another good way to complete that. In conclusion, I would probably stick to Stonecore and Batol. Batol is a little more annoying to get to if you don't have the portal readily available. Stonecore is considerably easier and is quicker. And the other one was Vortex Pinnacle if you want the mount, but Stonecore and Batol seem to be the place to be if you want gold. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll try to get back to you. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.